pirate. The other is crazy. So you better warp to the safe spot!
Welcome back, Capsuleer, let's go!
Warp to the safe spot! Warp to the safe spot!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of The Safe Spot. I am your host, Rixx Javix, and with me tonight is my crazy Canadian friend,
CrazyKinux. Bonjour. I am back
fancy.
from France. Yes.
Yeah, you were in France with your lovely wife for about a week or so?
About a week. Yeah, exactly. So we just got back a couple of days ago. I'm a bit jet lagged. I've been away from the game, but lo and behold, something big happened just as I was returning. Some big news, a big post, and I think that's what you want us to talk about today.
Well, I think it would be incumbent upon us to hit the big one right off the bat and be as topical as possible. We're not really a topical podcast. We're not really a reaction podcast or anything like that usually. But this is big news, and we don't know a lot about it right now. And it seems like a perfect conversation piece because it is something that I have been theoretically advocating for a very long time. If you go on Evaganda and you search through the archives, 16 years of archives, good luck to you if you're going to go looking through those. But there are many posts back in the day, even some blog banners, if I remember correctly, that I advocated for a rookies type system or some kind of NPE, new player experience, which had a lot. One particular that I talked about about a month or so ago on Pirates Corner briefly was something I called Sanctuary, and it was essentially what they're doing. I didn't have 53 systems. I only had a few. Create an environment in which real players can't get in there or at the very least can't engage in any kind of combat. So as soon as you go in, your safety turns green and you can't turn it to red. You can't do anything. Your guns don't operate, et cetera, et cetera. And let rookies be rookies, and set up some tutorials, set up missions, set up AI-driven stuff with Aura, guide them through, maybe even let them fly a battleship or two. Have a mission where they get to use a Sino or, do some cool things that they don't normally get to do as rookies. Kind of tease, this is what you'll be doing someday when you train up the skills for it. So CCP went all in on this idea. And I'm not saying that they went all in on Rixx's idea. This has been around for a long time, and I'm certainly not the only person that's advocated for it. But they are going all in. They've created 53 systems. They're saying, lore-wise, that these systems have always been there, that they sent out colony ship to set up to basically send construction workers out, for 10 years on a warp drive so that they could build stargates to connect the rest, whatever.
So that's the lore background of it,
it's right? The background, yeah. They've been at this for a long time, and the ships just got there, and they've been building gates and structures and other things.
It's a spin doctor version of it.
Yeah, so it's basically 53 systems. There's a central system called Manifest, and then 4 clusters, one for each empire, that come off of Manifest. Manifest is going to have like a air station. It'll sort of be the hub for all of the activity. It connects to Uli, which is the only bridge back and forth between what is going to be called Exordium, Exordium, and that sounds like a pharmaceutical. And that's the first thing I thought of. It's something new for your heart or for your headache.
I was thinking the other end of the body, but yeah, whatever.
Okay, that too. Yeah, go take extra, or extra strength Exordium. But I don't know who came up with the name. But maybe that wasn't workshopped far enough. Anyhow, but each of the 4 clusters connects to that cluster's empire space. So the Amar cluster, you can go out to Amar. The Minmatar cluster, you can go out to Minmatar space, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that once you do that, I think that's a one-way trip, but I don't know that for sure.
The connection between the manifest system and
UI.
you said that that was like a two-way. So that means
I do believe that's a two-way street because they talk about third parties are going to be allowed in there. And that we could talk, Mike Azaria's Magic School Bus or Eve Rookies or, any of those people who like to help new players. Apparently, they're going to be allowed in. So that was one of the concerns. I know Mike was very concerned about, not very concerned, but he was concerned about, would this Magic School Bus be able to operate? And I know Eve Rookies was too.
Welcome new players and with all the wonderful. Yeah, I was listening to a recent video about like his CSM interview about that, and that was interesting. But so what happens to PvP players on the other side that decide to come and play a visit? Like what happens, like all their guns and everything that would normally be used in PvP gets nerfed within Exordium?
Your safety gets set to green. So you can't aggress.
Huh. Okay.
So there's NPC violence because there's going to be missions and things and stuff for rookies to do, new players to do, but you can't engage in player-to-player combat.
What I didn't see, there's a lot of stuff, interesting stuff in how this system or these 53 systems will be and what the mechanics of the game will be and, the backstory to sort of explain it. But I would have liked to see some data, and maybe that's something that, CCP isn't willing to share at this point, or maybe they'll share it at during FanFest. But is this truly what makes new players quit the game? Is the sort of the PvP, I'm just super happy I got my new ship and I undock and I hit a gate and then boom, I get ganked and I quit.
It's funny. It's funny that you bring that up because not that long ago, CCP did a whole, and I haven't seen the research. Obviously, they don't share that with us, but
I would love to see that.
I know, but I did hear the talks, and for a long time, the talk was that combat and aggression builds friendships, and that was where the whole friendship machine came up. Remember the friendship machine? The Eve is a friendship machine. And we're making friends. Retention. The players who get killed or get exploded are more likely. Now that came out of this, and this is what I sat in those meetings at FanFest. I heard them talk about it. The players who get exploded are more likely to stay than the other types of players. So I don't know what's happened between then, which was, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now to change that dynamic. I know that they've spent a tremendous amount of resources on the NPE, 5 years ago or so, and they're completely, revamped it, and they've been adding things to it, and there's still a lot of problems with it from what I've heard, people complain about. So I don't know what's changed, what the research is showing now, and why why they felt this was to be implemented. But I do know that, typically we've been told in the past from various numbers, but the 8% number seems to stick, that 8% of people who try Eve stay with Eve, and that's not a very high percentage.
Yeah, so they're trying to nerf some of the irritants of what I assume is the main reason why new players quit, which is, the aggression that comes with PvP.
I guess. But doesn't it seem weird that the first impression isn't going to be that, though? It's going to be a completely, and the antithesis of Eve is going to be the first impression that players get.
Yeah.
Because
and then what happens when they join?
When they do go out into the real world and they find out that Eve is much horribler than they were told. I don't know how long, so let's just assume that 3 months, you're going to spend 3 months in there in Exordium. And when you come out of that matrix, you're going to be like, what the heck kind of a world is this? This is not anything like Exordium. I want to go. Yeah. And that, of course, is, my blog post recently for the New Eden Banter was about, is I have this fear that there will be a significant portion of people who don't want to leave that. Who are like, this is great. Nobody can shoot me. I can just make, a pitiful amount of money and rewards and just hang out here in Exordium. There's 53 systems to explore.
Yeah.
I mean, how long before there's corporations in Exordium, and how long before players organize, and how long before they start complaining about the lack of content?
Yeah.
I mean, will that be a thing? Will that be a Reddit post? Like, how long before that Reddit post? Like, I've been living in Exordium for 6 months now, and I'm bored out of my mind.
Yeah, this game is boring, and I'm not. And then lo and behold, you're not playing the game, dude. That's why. Right, it's boring.
Right. How long before the Exordium players shoot a statue outside of the air station in Manifest? How long before the Burn Manifest starts? Right. How long before Burn Manifest?
I don't know. And I think
it's funny they call it Manifest. Is that after CCP Manifest? That's every time I hear that, I think of CCP Manifest.
That's true.
Anyway, that's a reference to a very old CCP dev. No, he's not old. He was just there a long time ago. If you don't know CCP Manifest, that's a old reference. Friend of the family.
Good friend. I don't know. I mean,
there's just a lot to make fun of, I think, right now. And I hope, beyond hope, that there's a lot more meat on the bones here, and that we'll all be dazzled by CCP's plan. I hope so.
I think it's like when I was younger, at one point we were in I was in a school and was learning English as a new language, and I was part of a learning circle, and half my days were spent in that learning circle, and half the other day was spent in class in the quote unquote real class. And I remember my teacher telling me, like, you're gonna have to choose. Either you come to class full time or you stay at the learning circle. And it wasn't called the learning center. And and I feel that this is just, I wished they would have explained, here's why we did this. We did this because the number one reason we've noticed players not logging back into the game happens at this point. And it's because of people get, X percentage is the biggest, is when they get potted, their ship gets ganked or whatever it is. And so we need a region where they'll be able to sort of spread their wings, get to learn the mechanics of the game without the worry of that. And once they get airborne and they're comfortable and their skills have learned, reached a certain level, then they can go out into the real world. And that's why we're doing that. I'm not sure that that's the case. You do things like you look at extreme sports. You don't do it because you're not going to get hurt. You do it because you get a thrill of doing something where you could get hurt and you don't. And I think there's a part of playing Eve where every time you undock, every time you go out, whether you've got value in your cargo hold or not, the fact that, you could makes it worth it. Right? There's a purpose.
Well, I think so.
There's a chance.
I've always had a supposition that Eve suffers from that because it's not a game. It's marketed as a game. We call it a game, but it's not really a game. There's very little game going on in Eve. From what people understand of games, right? It's just not a game. It's a sandbox, right? And it's just, you have to find your own way. Nobody's going to hold your hand and tell you what to do. I get this all the time when people know, what are we doing? What are we doing now? What am I doing now? And I'm like, well, we're doing this, and you got to go find your own way and figure it out. And I don't know that people really dig that a whole lot. Not a lot of people anyway.
So I think you would fall within, what I call, I've looked at some of the feedback or some of the, rhetoric and discussions that happened following this announcement and the dev post. And you would fall within the purist sort of group that I see, like that Eve without risk, without the chance of getting potted or your ship getting blown up isn't really Eve. And what this creates is whitewashed, nerfed version of Eve without any of the risk. And so without any of the potential rewards of what it truly means to play the game as
What I really want to know, and what I was very careful about way back in the day when I was writing blog posts about this subject, and I talked about this on Pirates Corner a little bit, and I talked about it in my blog post, is I want to know what's the mechanic for kicking these people out. If there is no mechanic at all, if it's just up to them to decide when they're ready, I think that's a horrible mistake. If this is a 1 month process, okay, maybe. If it's a 3 month process, a 6 month process, how long are we talking? These are some open-ended questions that I think really impact how I would feel about it. I'm 100% for anything that makes more people play Eve. I would love to log on and see 50, 60, 75,000 people playing the game. Today there was 26, and you can feel it. I can feel the difference when I log on. I can kind of tell where the server count is. Just from flying around in 8 or 9 systems, I could probably guess pretty close to what the server count is. It's amazing what the difference between 26,000 people playing and 32,000 people playing.
34.
Yeah, you can feel it.
34 recently, yeah.
So
I
would 100%.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, like anti-low-sec systems, like, low-sec, you got to watch out and all and whatnot. But, when you start flying them at certain times of the day,
they're empty.
And you look at local and you're the only one in there. Like, ooh, this was scary. No, it's not.
Not really.
Yeah, maybe that would be a good thing, though, if let's say that let's be in the believers camp that this does actually work. So one sort of mechanic within Exordium that would be interesting would be the less amount of time you spend within Exordium, the greater the reward for you to switch over to, the real EVE Online. Go through Manifest and Uli, and you get a reward. You get and the longer you wait, the less you can still cross over, but you're not going to get whatever reward you could have gotten had you done this in a much faster fashion.
Yeah, I wonder, is there a graduation ceremony? Is there a path to graduation, right? Is it like a college? Or do I have classes I go to? Do I have to run missions, or do I have to achieve certain goals to get to graduation? Is there a graduating class? Like on Tuesdays, like every Tuesday, all these players meet at the Manifest Station, and there's a big I love that idea right now. Yeah. I just made that up in my head and I love it. Let's have that happen. I think it's great. There's like 500 spaceships outside of Manifestation. There's a big fireworks show. There's a trumpet. And then they all get a graduating degree in their cargo hold and they get kicked out.
Yeah. Somehow
good luck to you, young men.
Yeah. I've got Starship Fighter.
There's a stirring speech from the Empress or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Like every Tuesday is a different person. It's the new Galenti president on this Tuesday, and maybe a pirate lord or two every once in a while. I get to do the graduating.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And then out of the class of, let's say 500, there's a number. There's like 10 of them that will land in nullsec.
Right.
And in a pirate infested system, and is that
I don't know. Are they going to be promoting certain play styles inside of Exordium? How are they going to do that? Like, are you interested in wormholes, or are you interested in piracy or null? I don't understand. They did make some mention that we'll be able to promote corporations within it, so I'm not sure how that works either. Like, Stay Frosty will be able to advertise in Exordium. I don't know. So that's fascinating to me too. So I have a lot of open-ended questions I hope get resolved. It is only 4 weeks till FanFest, so I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it there. I have a lot of concerns.
What do you think of of farmers, those that are sort of already looking at what the loopholes are and how they can exploit those and whatnot, because there's a lot of those discussions on the Eve forum and on Reddit about
well, we've talked about this kind of thing in Eve before, right? Eve players are amazing. They're awesome. They are very intelligent. The cross section of the Eve player is a very nefarious, intelligent being who will read the patch notes religiously. They will find that angle, right? That little thing. So CCP's got to be very careful with this one. So I'm curious to see what kind of exploits can happen I came into the world in Todokai. So I hung out in that system for a couple of days trying to figure out how to fly to a Stargate. And there were people back then who would come into those systems, eject a can, and then talk to a player in a belt or something, and like convince them that there was something valuable in that canister. And then as soon as that person opened that canister and took that item, they would have aggression, so they could get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got changed pretty quickly.
Welcome to Eve.
Right. That's brutal. I mean, that is Eve, right? I mean, that is evil, twisted, dark. Things aren't fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Are we changing that? Are we changing that mechanic now? I don't know.
Because my worry is that they've taken out all the edge cases and the risk out of playing within New Eden, right? It's right. As if
it's New Eden paradise, right? I mean, we're all happy eating grapes.
Yeah, creating a safe zone of 53
That's how I imagine.
systems.
That's how I imagine Exordium. It's like it's just green pastures and rolling hills. It's like France, where you were. And people are eating grapes, and cheese,
lying on the sides like Romans.
Right.
Senators.
And CCP's like, do you need a new ship? Here's one. And it's like, well, that's how it works in New Eden. I need a new ship. I get one.
It's like it's like CCP playing helicopter parent to new players, and then holy shit when they hit the road and face the new the real world and the bullies and the possibility of everything that comes with that sort of
I mean, obviously I'm being a little flippant, but today I engaged a guy, a player, and I think he was in an Algos, and I was in the Vigil fleet, which is a frigate, and that's a destroyer. So that's already, I'm already working my way uphill, but I engage him. And sometimes when I do that, the other player will beg in local, which I really hate that, but it happens. Please, dude, don't kill me. It's so pitiful. It gets me right in the heartstrings. Here's the thing. I don't know that person actually is a new. So in the old days, you could look at a player's age and kind of determine what their skill level might be. And us pirates would avoid younger players. We really would. Well, some of us would. Some of us would go after them. But I know I did. I know we would look at show info, and we would decide, this guy is very young. I'm just going to move on, do something else. But you cannot do that anymore. No, the show info, the age of the player means nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. That player who's begging me in local could very easily, and quite possibly probably is, the alt of a much, much older player. Or a new version of a much, much older player like yourself, who was away from the game for a while, came back and created a new character. So he knows all the things. Age doesn't mean anything. I've seen 1-month-old players flying Lokis because you can you can spend credit card money and cram a lot of skill points into a very young player and get them 45, 50 million skill points and get them right into some kind of crazy ship. We see it all the time. We see young players flying ships they should not be flying for their age. They're 1 month old and they're 1 month old and they're already in a Marauder. We blow them up sometimes. They're running sites in low sec. My goodness.
Yeah. And
I don't know how to explain.
With good reason, I think.
I think so. I don't know how to explain that in local chat. It's a very complicated thing that I have to say. So what I did instead was I gave him 10 million ISK, and I told him, I said, I left your loot. I didn't take it. You can come back and get it. Just on the off chance that he was actually a rookie. Very nice to him. We spent some time talking. I told him what he did wrong and how to avoid pirates like myself. I do that all the time. 3-4 times a week, I get into these conversations with supposedly young players. And I just take them at their word because, what do I can't decide. I'm not going to be a judge about their character. But that's one way that we try to help. I don't know. I just worry.
I'd be surprised to know, those players that you've encountered, which, you've blown up the ship and then started interacting with them, gave them couple of million ISKs. I would wager quite a lot to say that they probably stepped away from the PC saying, man, this game is amazing. Like, this is crazy. I've just, connected with somebody who did something that was, like against my character. I lost a lot, but gained a lot as well. And I think there's an appreciation for the game because of that. And I think that, I'm hoping that whatever issue CCP is putting its finger on and knowingly going forward with this approach to new players does well. I wish
so.
the best, and I think increasing the number of new players that stay within the game, past the 6 months, the year mark, and continue to it.
Absolutely.
I hope that works, but I'm not super convinced, or I haven't seen the data that tells me this is the right approach, because my big issue with this is maybe this new Exordium experience will be nice and all cushiony and Care Bear. This is Care Bear heaven, right? You can do what you want.
Absolutely.
You can mine your hearts out. You will not get blown up. You can start a mining operation, go make dinner, put the kids to bed, come back to it, and your ship's still mining. Right. What's the fun in there? My issue is what happens when they cross over. They're going to be playing a completely different game. Will they really truly have learned the right behaviors? Don't fly what you can't lose. I used autopilot for the last 6 months in Exordium. I don't see why I need to not use autopilot. There's a bunch of things that you learn, and you only learn by doing, getting hurt, and learning from that. Let's hope that this works. And let's hope that there's a wave of new players that stays longer in the game and gets to enjoy the game. But I'm not convinced. I think increasing the number of players, increasing the the size of the funnel, basically, and making that funnel much bigger than it is, even if it's 8%. Well, 8% of whatever the percentage is, I think it would make more sense to sell the game for what makes players that stay within the game, and they sort of do that in a way, but not as much as I think they could. Where why have the players that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years, why are they still here? Why are the players that have played the game, left the game, and came back, why did they come back? Now,
based on what they told us over and over and over again, the driving reason is friendship.
Yeah,
friendship, making friends with players, creating communities, corporations, alliances, whatever it happens to be, or groups of mission runners, or whatever your thing is. Making those friends, those connections, is what drives people to stay, because you can't wait to get back on and hang out with your buddies. You can't wait to get back on and run missions with your friends, or you've got to get on Saturday because the system is under attack, or the Keepstar is under attack, or I need to get on to do this, or I need to get my kill board better, or I need to make up for that ship I lost. I got to get busy mining. I got to build resources. I got to do these things. And why do people do those things? Because they don't want to let their friends down.
Yeah.
I'm an integral part of the war effort, or I'm an integral part of my corporation, and I don't want to let my friends down.
Yeah. And that comes with friction, and that comes with, instances where things will be uncomfortable. I get.
Yeah. You don't get that kind of connection in Angry Birds.
Yeah, exactly. And you do get that even if you solo play the game, you still have the opportunity to engage with others and the risk that comes with that. And I think that makes the game special.
The other unique thing about Eve too is that when I leave Red Dead Redemption and I come back 3 days later, I can pick up right where I left off. With Eve, if I leave Eve, I log out of Eve, I come back 3 days later, 3 days of things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
This game doesn't stop. It's going 24/7. So when I'm not on, it's still going. Things are happening. Decisions are being made. My stuff is in peril. I got to get back soon. And that's a unique selling point. Now, that's not unique in an MMO. That's basically how they all work. But Eve is a single shard MMO, though. So we everybody who plays Eve plays the same universe. It's a unique thing. It's a history and an experience that's ongoing all the time. Anyway, I love Eve, so I'm passionate about it. I of course I want as many players to play as humanly possible. I think Eve has a real problem with branding and marketing. I got a haircut yesterday. The guy who cut my hair loves gaming. We talked about gaming. I was telling him stories about the board game and going to FanFest, and he's like, "What game is this?" And I said, "Eve Online," and he goes, "I've just never heard of that."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get that a lot, especially here in America. Now, when I go to Europe, it's a whole different thing. But I just don't know that a lot of people know about it.
Yeah. So if you had to wager where Exordium will be in 3 months, 6 months, in a year, what's
well, if we go by
a veteran player,
if we go by CCP's track record, here's how it will go. Well, they're going to introduce it. It's already there. They're going to start doing it piecemeal. There's going to be a date which all the new players who come on will get taken to it. I'm sure they're going to announce. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to announce a bunch of new stuff about it at FanFest. So if it goes a typical route, it'll open up. It'll run for about a month or two, and then something horrible will be discovered that it can be exploited, or that a mechanic doesn't work properly, and then there'll be a mad scramble to patch that. And then it'll go on for about 6 months and nothing will change. It won't be updated at all. It'll get stale. And then there'll be a mad dash about 6 or 9 months from now to patch that. At next year's FanFest, there will be a whole other system introduced. Basically, either alleviate that or they'll move on to something else. It'll be a whole other alien invasion or something else. And Exordium will turn out to be like Pochfin and just basically forgotten for years. Or wormholes. I mean, when's the last time there was a wormhole update? I feel bad for my wormhole friends because it's been a very long time, and they deserve some but nobody cares about wormholes, so it just never happens. And that's the thing about it. See, they build it, they forget it, they patch it, and then they don't update it. So I don't know. I worry.
I don't know. I think.
Man, that was very pessimistic, wasn't it? I don't know that I intended to be so pessimistic, but.
Well, I mean, that's one. So that's if it's, the typical thing that doesn't work. But what if it works?
We'll know, won't we? And it won't be hard to hide. We'll if it's working, we should see a steady increase in server numbers over the next year.
Yeah. So, above 30 most of the time.
Yeah, maybe, 36, 37, 40, 40. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what the percentage of people leaving either is. So
yeah, only CCP knows that, and
they're not going to tell us that one.
Well, I mean, you can't blame them for that one. In a way, we sort of see the health of the community by those numbers, as you mentioned. Like, what is it like over the weekend when people, a lot of people log in, and you hit that 34,000,
There's
players.
about 500,000 people that actively play. I don't know the exact subscriber number, but I've been told from someone who should know that it's about 500,000. So if we take that as just a general idea, how many of those 500,000 people are leaving every day, and then how many people are joining every day, and then what percentages are those? How do you make up for the loss? Are you making up? So, I hope it works. I really do, because I do want this game to succeed and last for another 20 years.
Yeah, but I think you hit on something that it keeps coming back at top of mind is that idea of friendship and of connecting to people. And like on LinkedIn, when you're looking for, or LinkedIn, but it could be any other like sort of job site, you can put yourself as like open to work type of thing. What if new players automatically are, or they're being asked, we're going to put you in a sort of bucket of open to get recruited by these types of corps that do X, Y, and Z. That would be a way to sort of connection approach, the friendship approach, the connecting with real human beings within this game that have similar goals, similar interest. And you wouldn't have to wait do that proactively as a player, try to figure out how to join a corporation, you could be easily recruited. There are some mechanics that sort of does that when you're looking at jobs and
Yes.
whatnot, but I'm thinking make that, lower that threshold of the ability for corporations to recruit individuals that are looking for to do, I'm looking to do hauling, I'm looking to do more PvE or more PvP or mining, and that's the sort of thing that interests me. So at one point within your onboarding of the game, you get asks those questions, and depending on the answers fall into buckets where corporations would be able to more actively, more easily recruit you, and you'd be connected to other players within those corps, within the recruitment. Make that easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case right now, but I think that would be a much better way than to nerf the game, to say sell you something which is not Eve, which is safe and where all the risk has been removed, and sell you that as the game, and then boom, drop you in the real world. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I just know that it could be better, and I hope that more people play. So we'll see. I remain optimistic. I have to say, I lean on the side of optimism. I always do, so it's not unusual. I have concerns. I hope those concerns get addressed in the coming weeks. Hopefully they will, and somebody's given this a lot of thought, and they've worked out all the kinks, and it'll work great.
Hope so.
And then I immediately think of captain's quarters, and I go, well, I don't know. Different group of people, so we'll see. So let's move on. I just wanted to briefly say that we had Frigate Free For All last weekend. It was great.
Yes,
sorry you missed it.
I was away. I know.
Yeah. We had a good turnout. It wasn't a record-breaking turnout, which was exactly what I wanted. I don't know that people understand me when I say that, but I don't know for sure. So I just want to be clear. I've been doing this 16 years, 12 years in this particular run, but we've broken a lot of records over the years. And the one thing I was concerned about this year, especially, was our ability to, until the last minute, really, I didn't know for sure that we would have all the ships that we needed to cover the crowd. So this year I didn't do some of the things that I normally do, like we didn't advertise on billboards in the game. I didn't overdo the Reddit posting. I did Reddit posting, but I didn't overdo it. And I just was really trying not to push too hard,
Okay.
Because I was a little concerned about our ability, and it all worked out in the end. But it was right up to the last minute, and so that's good. We had a great crowd, and it was a wonderful experience. Wonderful day. Everybody had fun. We got so much positive feedback. No, everybody just in local was like, this is great. We love this. We'll look forward to this every year. On and on and on. It was awesome. So we're going to do it again. We definitely will do it again next year, and in Amamaki again. That may be our last time there, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it went really well. Sorry you couldn't be there.
Yeah, I know. And I'm thinking maybe that's a great way where you've lowered the not the threshold, but the sort of the negative impact to a new player trying to understand this.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm not even making this up. This is not a Trump story. It's an actual story. Players will either I meet in local or who join Stay Frosty at some point, or, just players I've met, even in real life at FanFest, will come up to me and say, I was at this Frigate Free For All 8 years ago, and I was scared to death of PvP, and I'd never tried it before, and I had a blast. I had the best time. That really got me interested in the PvP, and not even so much that even as just it got me more interested in the game, and that's a wonderful thing. And I think that if there's anything I take out of doing it, which is such a pain in the ass to do, there's nothing else quite like it. And so I feel a certain responsibility to keep it going, even though sometimes I'm like, oh man, maybe we should not do this again, but we just keep doing it. So I'm not going to stop.
or maybe do it in you know, at a much lower scale in terms of like numbers. You do it more, you know, more often, where you do it twice a year, but you don't advertise it, or you know, it's not as big as it is, and makes it easier for you.
Yeah, to be fair, there are a lot of other groups doing it now. And
I'm glad that you get a good turnout, and that this year was another good good year.
It was not. There was no real problems. Nothing to report. The usual people showed up in local, but there was no real bad talk in local. There wasn't over potting. I didn't hear any complaints about people, smart bombing pods on the station or on gates or anything like that, which is something that usually happens. I didn't hear a lot of complaints about anything, really. I mean, those people came, they stayed for a little while, they left. They didn't really cause much havoc. And everybody seems to have had a really great time. So, it is unfortunate that it was during Anger Games Saturday, and that was a mistake on my part. And I will try to avoid that next year. That's 2 years in a row that I did that. But again, it was
Anger Games.
Anger Games is like a mini alliance tournament.
Okay. Is that organized by CCP?
No, it's organized by players.
Okay.
CCP helps them out now. It's grown to be so popular that CCP does a Twitch stream. They do the analysis and all that on Twitch. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's instead of 10 versus 10, it's 7 versus 7.
Okay. And
it's awesome.
So the timing was a bit off.
It was the first day of Anger Games.
Yeah.
But that kind of worked in our favor too. It helped keep the population down a little bit more manageable. We didn't have any tie-dye. Sometimes we get so many people in local with big ships and so many frigates flying around and so many drones out and all the wrecks and everything that we do have tie-dye during the event. So it was kind of nice not to have to worry about that. All right, my friend. I think we've talked for almost 50 minutes now. So anything last minute you want to bring up?
Looking forward to getting back into the game. I'm a bit late on my own party for the new Eden Benter number 2.
Nice.
So that'll be up when you listen to this new episode. There's a few bloggers that have participated. So next month's will be not launched, but announced. The topic will be announced at the beginning of the next month, so May, and then the posts go live on the 15th of the month. So yeah, I'm a bit late to that, coming back from my trip and the jet lag, and all that is sort of my excuse for that. Looking forward to getting back into the game and seeing how this rolls out. This Exordium rolls out during FanFest.
Yeah, we'll look forward to Extra Strength Exordium, and it will solve all of our recruiting issues. It will help bring newbies into the game and keep them there.
Here. The more the merrier.
Yeah, the more the merrier. And be sure to, speaking of YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Appreciate all the support and all the comments. And I'm trying to keep that sucker going and as lively as humanly possible. Yeah, so take care and stay out of trouble up there. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Fly safe.
Yeah, everybody fly safe. And thanks a lot. Take care.
I end up light, I end up cheap, I end up thinking I can sleep. Overview clean, low coasting. This feels safe, I fly right in. Sun to gate, gate to belt. Little ship, little melt. I say out loud, and this is fine. Then the universe changes its mind. There's a pause, there's a beat, there's a light I shouldn't see. This is just another hot drop, same old dance, same old stop. Blink and boom, you're not alive. Welcome to the other side. This is just another hot drop. I was here and now I'm not. Wave hello to local chat. Smile, your content for that. I send side no lights like a birthday cake. Wish I hadn't hit warp to gate. Space gets crowded awful fast. Friends I didn't know I had. Redeemers falling out the sky. T3's asking who's this guy. I spin my ship, I spin my fate, I overheat, I hesitate. I say, maybe they won't notice me. This is not my day. This is just another hot drop, nothing personal. It's not one ship small, many ships large. This is how the math works out. This is just another hot drop, regret set to maximum. I dance alone in vacuum light till my ship becomes the sun. My pod floats free, my hand still shakes. Someone types good fight, that feels fake. I check the board, I check the laws. This key evaporates, no remorse. I tell myself it's all a game. I tell myself it's not the pain. I tell myself I'll undock twice because the fear feels the same. This is just another hot drop. Clap your hands and lose your ship. Everybody's watching now as you slowly, slowly slip. This is just another hot drop. Same old dance, same old stop. Blink and boom, you're not alive. Welcome to the other side. This is just another hot drop. I was here and now I'm not. Wave hello to local chat. Smile your content for that. Just another hot drop. Just another hot drop. Yeah, same as it ever was. Oh man, yeah. Hot drop.